Hello, welcome everyone to today's session. How excited are we? Is there anyone that is ready that has joined us for this session? How excited are we for this session? Welcome to another wonderful session offered brought to you by the AWS Cloud Security User Group, West Africa. So if you're joining us for the first time, this is a study series that we do from time to time to support our community and support anybody going on AWS journey to learn more about AWS tools, especially the security aspect. So if you're on the call, please say hello and tell us where you're joining from. Once again, I'm your moderator for today. My name is Blessing Ogechi Nwojiji, and I have with me a very special wonderful speaker, Ukeme Eseme by name, and we'll introduce him shortly. We're waiting for more people to join us on this call. If you've been joining us on our other sessions, you will notice that they've been very interesting. And I think one of the things some of you miss is the game we play at the end. That's the quiz we do at the end of each session. Sadly, and or a little bit, we just pause it a bit for now for us to be able to revamp and bring it back in bigger and full force and make it more interesting for everyone. So for now, we're just strictly doing study sessions, and this will run till first week of June. If you're yet to follow us on any of our social media platforms, please do follow us. We are active on Twitter and LinkedIn for now, and you can reach out to any of the leaders. You can join us on Meetup. You can join us on WhatsApp community, and we're preparing for our community day that is coming up in August, AWS Community Day, that will be focused on security and AWS services at large. So I hope you guys are also preparing for that as well. We're still waiting for more people to join us. And we're ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's live class on AWS Toolsets and CI with development tools. In the ever-evolving world of technology where software development plays a pivotal role, it's crucial for developers and organizations to adopt efficient practices that accelerate the delivery of high quality applications. I'm sure you agree with me. In this class that is led by Ukeme, we will delve into the world of AWS toolsets and explore how they integrate with CI and CID processes, empowering developers to build, test, and deploy their applications seamlessly. AWS offers a comprehensive suite of services and tools designed to streamline the development lifecycle and enhances collaboration amongst teams. From code creation and version control to building, testing, and deployment, AWS Toolsets provides a cohesive ecosystem that enables developers to optimize their workflow and deliver software faster. So, whether you're a developer, a DevOps engineer, a security expert, or simply interested in the world of cloud computing and software development, this class is for you. Whether you're a Olodo like me, whether you're very brilliant, this class is for you. It's going to be it's going to be going hands-on, and it's going to be beginner friendly. The AWS tool sets and C and CID with development tools, get ready to embark on a journey that will transform your approach to software development and accelerate your development cycle. Let's go. With this, welcome our speaker for today, Ukeme. Hello, Ukeme.
Hi, Blessing.
Are you
I don't
ready
have
for
video.
us?
I don't have video today. I'm ready. Oh. I'm ready.
Okay, if you're ready for us, who is ready? Who is already on this call with us? Tell us where you're dialing from. Tell us where you're joining us from. How is the weather like in your area? You've already heard the summary of what we are going to do today. We are working on AWS toolsets and CI/CD with development tools, and it's very very essential in this evolving world of technology. So, where are you joining us from? Tell us how excited you are about this class that we're having today. Okay, I see that we don't really have much people yet on the call, so we'll give 2 more minutes for more people to join us. Before we do that, okay, how are you? How have you been preparing for this session? How prepared do we, the receivers, how do you think we should be? What do you think we'll get at the end of this class?
Okay, Blessing. Thanks for the introduction. So, I would say I'm always prepared. I would have preferred I have like some extra time to still do some more things, in terms of preparing. Um, so is CICD, continuous integration, continuous deployment, or continuous delivery. So that's basically like a bedrock in terms of DevOps. You can't mention DevOps without calling CI/CD. So today we'll try as much as possible to use AWS Dev Tools to see if we can do some justice to it. Then at the end of the session, or at the end of my slides, we would do some very little practical, you know. Um, so that's it.
That's one thing I love about you. Ukeme is your practical man. At any day, anytime, like he said, he's always ready. Anytime you wake him up, he's ready for any practical class. As far as it comes in the world of IT, Ukeme is your guy. And this is one of the things we have, the assets we have in our user group. We have
Yeah, yeah, flattering. Yeah, flattering.
we have we have
Oh,
quality
voila.
trainers. Hello, Olatayo. Enyoma, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us for today's session. Joining from Uyo, that's very good. That means you are my next door neighbor. I'm joining from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. And like I was saying, Ukema is your guy when it comes to hands-on. If you have anything IT, like he's very versatile. He's not just good with cloud computing. He's good when it comes to software engineering, and he's also good with design. Like he's that guy, he's that guru hiding. He just likes to present himself as a humble person. But if you need any
Ah,
hands-on,
let's
he's your
see.
guy. And oh, hello. Let me know more that your name, Basiru from Senegal. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Kennedy from Abuja. And we waited for you guys to join us. Welcome everyone to today's session. Once again we are covering AWS Toolsets and C&ID with development tools, and we are giving you to the best hand, and that's what we promise to always offer you from this in this throughout these training sessions. We always will offer you the best hands to handle these trainings, and that's why it's very important for you to attend the live session so that you can ask any questions you have and you can see it go down. Like you see Ukeme cutting it and slicing it down like he always does. He chews these things like it comes off easy as if he was born with it. So Ukeme, I will leave you to go ahead and take over this class because that's what you're very good at. See you and have a good time.
We need to be paying Blessing for the hyping, because she's very good at hyping, and I feel she has actually exaggerated some of the things that I can do. So in Nigeria here, we have some issues with power, and I don't have so much power. I think I have like 65%, so I'm going to try as much as possible to run through the entire thing. Um, my slides, Blessing, my slides, how can I start sharing them? Okay, cool. Thank you. So today we'll be covering AWS toolsets and CI/CD with development tools. So CI/CD basically stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. In some cases, the CD in the CI is continuous delivery. So this is the bedrock of DevOps. And if you're new to DevOps, what's DevOps? So dev and then ops. So the development and then operations. So it's a merger between two different departments in the IT world and in the operations world. So we put those two together to in terms of collaborating with teams, in terms of easy delivery, in terms of DevOps is just a lot of things together. So I covered details about DevOps in the previous session I had last week, so you can go ahead to watch that. So let's move on because of time. So AWS toolsets and CI/CD with development tools by Ukeme David Eseme. Next. So we'll be covering what we'll cover today is why DevOps on AWS, and then two AWS Dev Tools. We'll cover Cloud9, we'll cover AWS Code Quality. Listen, there's music at the background. Can you just maybe kill it? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so Cloud9, we'll cover Cloud9, we'll cover code commit, we'll cover code build, code deploy, code pipeline, code star, and then at the end, we'll try and see if we can run a very simple practical using one of these tools or maybe two or more of these tools. So, why DevOps on AWS? So in terms of DevOps, you can basically do DevOps on GCP or Azure or whatnot, or maybe using Jenkins, and other tools, or you can run DevOps on your local computer. But running your DevOps pipeline or doing DevOps on AWS, I cannot emphasize it enough. It is very important, useful, reliable, and there's a lot of things that AWS brings to the table in terms of the services. And the thing about AWS services is that almost all the services that AWS or resources that AWS provides are linked together. They are seamlessly linked. So you can move from one tool to the other, to the next in just a click of a button. So there's this integration between different kind of dev tools in AWS. So one of the reasons why you should do your DevOps on AWS is because it's fully managed. AWS dev tools are fully managed in the sense that if you spin up an instance, you really don't have to start managing some of these servers. AWS does most of the management for you. It gives you room to focus on the important things, which is making sure your automation is working or making sure your deployment is working. So it's a fully managed service. We take that workload out for you. So with AWS, you are building to scale. You know, is built to scale in the sense that you can easily scale up and scale down any of your instances or your resources in just a few clicks of a button. What do I mean by scale? I said this the last week, but I'm going to say it again. For example, you have an EC2 instance or a server that can, let's say, take a workload of like 5,000 people visiting it, and then let's say the days where you have your peak hours, you have like 10,000 people visiting that server or hitting traffic, sending traffic to that server. In most cases it's meant to crash because you can't handle it. If you are running on prem, you literally have to manually, almost manually, have to go and create another server and then start pushing traffic there or load balancing the traffic to that other server. But with AWS here, it's easy for you to scale. You put some set of metrics, and once that metrics would hit, you just have a new server spin up. You keep spinning up new instances. There's something called scaling up and then scaling down. There's scaling horizontally and then scaling vertically. You can do some more research on that, but AWS is built to scale. Automation is something very, um should I say, is also like second nature in CI/CD and DevOps. So with automation, we try as much as possible to automate most of our processes, in the sense that if you have some form of repeated tasks, something you keep have to be doing, you keep have to go back and do that thing, do that thing, do that, it's best for you to just automate it. Because of human errors, you are prone to making mistakes. Anytime a server goes down, you want to spin up a new one, you have to go and manually do that. No, you probably might make some mistakes, or you probably will just do something that won't be right. So it's better for you to just automate that process. You know, DevOps is mostly about automation. Next. So security. So we have security in the cloud in terms of AWS. AWS is highly secured. We have different form of protocols, different form of methodologies, different form of instances in terms of creating security in the cloud. There's, I'm sure you must have heard of security groups. We also have VPCs. We also have ACLs. There are so many things that AWS has put in place to make sure that your resource and your workload is highly, and I say highly secured. You know, so pay as you go. End of AWS, we don't really, it, the way we charge uh, is by the resource you use compared to on-prem. I have like some websites hosting on Namecheap, and then with Namecheap, you basically have to pay upfront. You pay the money, and then they give you a specific limit of in terms of the resources you use, and you've paid for 1 year. Do you get? You pay upfront. But with AWS, you pay as you go. You pay for what you use. So if I want my server to run for just 10 minutes and I put it off, I'll just do that. But in terms of on-prem, you can't really do that. Once you've paid, you've paid. Whether you don't want this server to run or you want it to run for the next 1 year, you have that server is stuck with you for the next 1 year. I almost said it's stuck with you for life, but that's not true. All right, so you pay as you go. Next, AWS Dev Tools. Let's go into the tools now. We start with Cloud9. So Cloud9 is literally just an IDE. What's an IDE? Integrated Development Environment. Sounds like big grammar. What is that? That's like VS Code. That's like Atom, what you used to write your code. That's like Notepad plus plus. That's like, which other ones do we have? Which other IDEs? We have NetBeans. We have what's the one for Python? Seth? I can't remember. But those are basically just IDEs. So AWS basically has their own IDE, which is Cloud9. It allows developers to write, run, and debug code in the cloud using. There's a question there. How can I get started using AWS? Don't worry. I'll answer that question. When we get to the practical, we would we will cover it. That's a very good question. All right. So It allows developers to write, run, and debug code in the cloud using a web browser. So Code9 provides a collaborative environment for teams to work on projects together, as multiple users can collaborate on the same code base in real time. So with VS Code, I don't know if VS Code has that feature, but with VS Code, you are basically just working locally, you know. I think Gitpod is also collaborative, but we have Cloud9. So with Cloud9, you can collaborate. Once I'm working in that on that project, I can send the link to my colleague who can also be working on that project in real time. That's the keyword, real time. There are lots of other features in terms of Cloud9. Cloud9, yes, it comes with some things prepackaged. I don't have to start installing Docker, because sometimes when you start installing dependencies, you run into errors and you're like, God, what is all of this? You want to do Kubernetes, you now have to install Kubernetes. You want to do AWS CLI, you have to install AWS CLI. When you're working locally, all of these things is just extra stress for you. But with Cloud9, they are all pre-packaged. You get most of the popular and most useful dependencies are packed together inside Cloud9. So next, um, we'll cover that in practical very soon. Code commit. So AWS Code Commit is a fully managed source code control service provided by AWS. It is designed to help developers secure, store, and manage their private Git repositories in the AWS cloud. Code Commit is integrated with other AWS services and provides a secure and scalable solution for version control. So AWS is synonymous to GitHub. Sorry, AWS Code Commit, my bad, is synonymous to GitHub. So is a source control service, but this time it's fully managed. You guess what source control service? You have GitHub, you have your Git repo where you push your code to, it basically creates a private repo for you, where you can push your code and then pull from there. You can also commit to that your code base, I think that covers it. So when you hear code commit, just think about GitHub and then GitHub on steroids. All right. So um next, code build. So AWS Code Build is a fully managed, everything is fully managed. You see, fully managed is coming up every time. So that's why you have to be working with AWS tools. So fully managed continuous integration and continuous delivery service provided by AWS. It is designed to compile, test, and package your code automatically in a scalable and reliable manner. Now, let's look at that second line here. The second paragraph will underline some things in our mind. Just underline compile, underline test, underline package, then underline automatic, then underline scalable, then underline reliable. So the scalable and the reliable part comes with the fact that you're using AWS. I mentioned scalability initially, and then compile, test, and package. So when you have, let's say you have a Node Express app or a React app, with code build, you basically can just compile that entire application. It packages it, and then creates an artifact for you that can be easily deployed. So when you want to deploy, code build must have already built what needs to be deployed. So it makes things easier. You get. So code build eliminates the need to set up and maintain your own build servers. That's setting up and maintaining. That's why we say AWS is fully managed. So allowing you to focus on developing your application. So that's it with AWS code build. I'm trying to rush because of power. I don't have much power. In terms of power, I mean electrical power, right? So don't take me literally. So code build, code deploy, my bad. AWS Code Deploy is a fully managed again service provided by AWS that automates code that automates, keyword is automate there, automates code deployment to various compute environments. All right. So it simplifies the processes of releasing new application versions, updating existing deployments, and then rollbacks back to the previous version in case the new deployment has an issue. You can easily roll back. So code deploy supports a wide range of deployment scenarios. It makes it making it flexible and scalable for different application architecture. All right, so it means with code deploy, you can deploy with your EC2, you can deploy with Elastic Beanstalk. These are like some form of compute deployments, compute tools, yes, or compute resources. EC2 is compute. These are like servers. When I say compute, these are like servers, basically. The logic behind the server is the compute power. So EC2s, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda is also compute. Um, which other one again? Those are the three major ones, you know. EC2, Lambda, Elastic Beanstalk. Those are the main ones, sha. You get. So basically, it can help you automate and deploy your applications to those specific compute resources, and then it helps you in terms of rolling back your versions. It also helps you updating your existing deployments. All right. So people say deploy. It's not that easy to deploy. Let's not lie. If you are working with production, you will know that it's not that easy to deploy because different things will happen, and you have to now start looking for the problem via monitoring and trying to sort that problem before people will notice that, oh, this website is down. You get. So deployment, especially in production, is not easy at all. Um, Code pipeline. So code pipeline now, this is very juicy. Code pipeline is a fully managed continuous integration and continuous delivery service provided by AWS. It helps you automate your software release process, allowing you to quickly and reliably deliver new features and updates up to your applications. AWS Code Pipeline simplifies the processes of building, testing, deploying your applications through automated workflows. Keyword there, automated workflows. It helps streamline your release processes or your release process, increase efficiency. In DevOps, efficiency is very important. Efficiency in your workflow is very, very important. I can't emphasize that enough. And improves the overall quality and reliability of your software delivery. So I'll give you an example of a pipeline now. Let's say, for example, we have like 5 developers working on a blockchain project, or let's say a regular, just a project or a bank app project, you get. So with the pipeline, we kind of create different stages. I'm going ahead of myself. There's a slide for that. Let me just go next. There's a slide for that. We'll cover it. So CodeStar is one of those new um, services that jumped into AWS. Even I myself, I'm still trying to. It's very easy to use, mind you. Very, very easy to use. We'll run a small demo on this, but it's kind of like almost does the same thing with the code pipeline. It feels like pipeline on steroids because CodeStar also has its own pipeline, and then you can integrate all kinds of other resources to it. Let me read what is here. It is designed to accelerate software development projects, accelerate keyword, by providing a unified user interface and pre-configured templates. So the keyword here is unified user interface and pre-configured templates, in the sense that if you want to build um a Go Lang application, there are already templates there that you can just click, 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 and then you have that application running. Or if you don't have any application running, there are templates of different applications on CodeStar that you can basically just click, 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 and then it's running. Do you get? So CodeStar simplifies the setup and management of the entire software development cycle. That's the SD, yes, software development cycle. Yes, from coding and building to deploying and monitoring applications. So it covers that entire cycle: coding, building, deployment, and then monitoring. That's the cycle of the software development life cycle. So CodeStar seamlessly integrates with various AWS services such as Code Commit, AWS Code Deploy, AWS Lambda, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. This enables you to leverage other services based on your project requirements and build end-to-end solutions. I think that quite covers it. Um, yeah. So this is a pipeline now. This is how it works. If you're coming to DevOps, this is how the stages of like building your pipeline. So if you use AWS pipeline, the first thing is to get your source. A source control basically is your main source of truth. Main source of truth in the sense that this is where we are getting all our code source code from. So in this stage now, you can call Git a source control tool. But in this case, with AWS, I think I have another slide to cover that. Okay, let me see. Okay, cool. Let me go back. Yeah, so source, your main source of truth, your build, you go after you've had your source, you trigger, and then you can build the application from there. You test the application from there. It goes to staging, and then production. So the difference between production and staging, like the name has said, staging is not what is going live. Is you can basically still run tests on your staging environment. You know, staging and production are majorly environments. So production is the environment that is released live to the public. You know, so this is the process: one, two, three, four, five that it takes. Some other people might basically add some other processes in between each of this. So AWS code pipeline. Now let's go deep with the tools and where they fall in. This slide actually does justice. Everything I've been saying right now, if you look at this slide, it should probably make sense to you by now. All right. So it starts with author. This author now is basically your IDE. You can use VS Code, but with AWS, we have code, Cloud9. You know, Cloud9 is what we use to write our code. We'll get to that. Then from there, it goes to source control. Source control basically is code commit. That's like your GitHub, where you're pushing all your code from Code9 to a specific repo or repository where these things are stored, and it becomes the major source of truth. So the next thing is the build. So in the pipeline, you have to build your application. So AWS Code Build does that for you, you know. And then the next thing is test. AWS Code Build also can test with some other third-party applications or tools that you can use to test. I'll do some more research on that. So from there, the next thing is the deployment. So AWS Code Deploy basically deploys your application. And then the next thing, when you've deployed your application, be it staging or production, you would now have to monitor what's going on. So you have that feedback, that integrated. That's why it's CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. So you make changes immediately. When you make those changes, it goes through all of this pipeline. If you have any issues, it's going to monitor it. Maybe you have errors in your testing phase, is going to monitor it and then send you feedback. Then you go back to author again, fix what you need to fix, just like that. That's the cycle. So when it gets to monitoring now we have CloudWatch. CloudWatch basically just does all the monitoring in terms of logging. So it logs the activity of your servers or resources, see what is going on, reports back to you. You have some issues, you check CloudWatch. Basically, you can even add some alarms in CloudWatch. So if something bad is happening or some specific instance is happening, good or bad, if you set your alarm, it basically rings you back and lets you know that this is what's going on. You can then go back from the beginning again, which is the auto part, and then continue that cycle. Continuous integration, continuous deployment. So the continuous integration part starts from the auto, the source, and then the build, and then also the test, and then the continuous deployment can also be the test, the deploy, and then the monitor. All right. So I think that covers it. Um, yeah, simple, practical. I'm going to share my screen and then answer Samson's question. All right, Samson, how can I get started using AWS? Okay. Uh, Yeah, so Samson, if you want to get started using AWS, you have to go to the website and then you have to sign up. When you are signing up, you would basically have to put a valid card, a valid virtual or maybe physical card. AWS will debit you $1 and then send that $1 back after they've verified. So that is just to verify that your account or your card is working. So once you sign up, it's very easy to sign up. You basically have this dashboard that I have now. Now AWS comes because they are very AWS is very considerate. It comes with a lot of free things. There's something called the free tier. you know Free tier basically gives you some specific resources that you can use for free. Mind you, there is a cap to how free you can use this resource. And you always have to watch, especially with your EC2. Once you open an EC or you run an EC2 instance, please, when you are done, deactivate it or just shut it down, because if you don't, you keep running. Once you I think the free tier for EC2, which is a T2 micro, has like 720 hours of compute service. I think so. 720 hours. I think an S3 gives you I can't remember S3, but I think it's 1000 something. I don't know. But there's free tier. You can use that. So once you signed up, it takes you to this console. We call this the console. So is there any difference between continuous deployment and continuous delivery? That's a good question. Oh. To me, I think they are the same, but some other people might say there isn't so much difference. But for me, I think they are the same. So we can basically just ask ChatGPT if we want. Oops, my spellings. Okay, thank you, ChatGPT. So
Hello, Kamel. Cannot see your screen. Have you started sharing?
wow, you can't see my screen.
No, we can't. It just shows simple
Are,
practical.
are you serious? Okay, I think you have to switch. You have to switch it.
Okay, 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 okay. I can
I'm
see
sure.
it. I
Yeah.
can see it. No problem.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Okay, please go ahead. Forgive me for that.
Ah. Oh.
No, it's all good.
On the test phase. Okay, I have some questions. It says on the test phase, what does third party refer to?
I'll show
So
it.
third party. third party basically refers to other tools that you can use to test. If you are using Jenkins, there are some tools that you use for testing, specific testing, and AWS Code Build can easily integrate with those tools. Okay. Um, I have to go back to Samson's question. So Samson, like I said, this is the console. You go to AWS website, you go to the console, you sign up, you have to impute a valid card, you know. AWS will debit you $1, and then once they've known that this your card is valid, they would return that $1 to you, and they have free tier services like this EC2 here, S3, and many other tools have um, free tier, that you can use for free, and there's a cap to it. Yes. So, what's the difference between continuous delivery, deployment, and continuous delivery? To me, I think it's the same thing, but we're always learning. So, it's saying ChatGPT here is saying about practices in software development that aims to streamline the release process and deliver software. Okay, so it's saying continuous delivery software approach that focuses on automating, right? Continuous deployment takes the principles of continuous delivery a step further by automatically deploying this is like the same thing. This is basically saying the same thing. I don't know what I'm seeing here. So I hope that answers the question. Let me see if I have another question. Uh, I think that's all for now. All right. So let's start with code 9. So once you come to AWS, you basically on top right left corner, there's something called services. If you click services, you pretty much have everything you're looking for here, or you can just search for it. What we will work on right now, let's just create a Cloud9 environment. So, like I said earlier, Cloud9 is an IDE. All right. So if you click this, you have Cloud9.
Excuse me, Ukeme, we have a question
Yes.
from Ojo. It says, how do we build a portfolio? Just keep sharing your screen. I'll read the question. How do we build a
Okay.
portfolio around what we have learned? I think that would come
I
later.
think, yeah,
How
that
do we
should come
build a
last.
portfolio around what we have learned?
That should come last. That has a lot to do with LinkedIn. And Blessing she's like the guy of LinkedIn, but we'll come to that. So once you open Cloud9, you should have this environment here. So this is a Cloud9 environment I've already built, but I will show you how to do it. It's very easy. On the top right hand corner, you see create environment. Click on it. You come here, give it a name. I will call this what should I call this? Study group, ENV, and then I just write study group. So what's happening here is saying environment type. So you can either use an existing compute EC2, or you basically would have to create a new one. So what does this mean? Your Cloud9 needs to be running on a specific server, right? So you have to create a server for that. You create a new one. Now, EC2 instance. So these are like different types of EC2 instances. They cost though. This is the one that is free. T2 micro is free. T3 small is not free. As you can see, there are different perks that comes with each of the instances. So T2 micro, and then here you can choose the type of OS you want to run. We only have two options here. Hopefully AWS will expand this to other options in the future. So let's use Amazon Linux 2. Leave this timeout, leave every other setting. If you have like a private VPC that you've created, you can basically connect to that or create a new VPC. I'm sure you know what a VPC is, virtual private cloud. And then I'll just use the default one. You have to select a subnet. Subnet, you know what subnet is. These are like how do I explain subnets? Is a unit under is a networking unit under your VPC or inside your VPC, you know. So we're running on US East 1. If I come here now in this AZ, if I click here, there are different AZs here. What does AZ mean? Availability zone. You get, you can decide to host in different place. Right now, we're using US East 1, which is in Virginia. And inside that, there are different subnets, you know. So let's just use um, US East 1B because I'm already using US East 1A. So if you scroll down, I think that's all, right? Click on create. So it creates that environment for you. It's still creating. So this is the one I've created before. And then basically, yes. So we have a DevOps study group sponsored by this particular AWS security user group. They sponsor us. So we have a private study DevOps study group where we work on real life projects. And this is one of the projects we're working on, Bank App Challenge. In this project, we are meant to deploy testing automation to commission infrastructure, configure monitoring and alerting, integration, and Grafana. So basically, this is the project. We built this and new people come on the platform to learn DevOps. So we have two sessions every week, midweek session on Wednesdays and then Saturdays sessions where we still try to, learn, teach each other and work on this particular project. So if you want to build your portfolio, is something I think you should work on. We currently have 6 contributors on this project, you know. So this is the repo that we would use to test today. So I copied that repo and then I cloned it. In case you don't know how to clone, this is how to clone. Git clone, and then you paste that repo there. I've done that before, and that was how I got all of this here. So this is the IDE. Let's check the new one we've created. We can open this. Yep. So this is like opening Cloud9 for the first time. All right. So this is it. Configure your team, make it look the way you want. Yeah, you get um anyhow you want it. You get this white is too loud, but anyhow, we're going back to this. So once you've cloned the project now, we want to do something a bit practical. We're working with this. The point is we're working with Cloud9. So I already created a Docker file here. So this Docker file is this entire application. Instead of installing the dependencies and then going through all that stress of installing dependencies here on this particular IDE, you can basically just do that in a Docker container. And like I said, AWS Cloud9 comes with some dependencies pre-installed. If I say, let me zoom in a bit. Yep. If I say Docker V, that's V now, Docker version, Docker is already installed. I don't need to install it again. You get, there are other things that are also pre-installed. So what I want to do now is basically to create a Docker image out of this. I've done that before, you know. So if I do Docker images now, I would see I'll see this image. I've already built this image before. It's called Bank App. I can show you how to do it. Because of time, I will not wait for the entire image to build. I'll just show you how to do it. So you can say Docker build -t meaning for the terminal, and then we would give it a name. I'll call this bank app and then give it a tag. Sorry, -t actually means tag. All right, not terminal. So this one I created here is V1, version V1. I'm just going to create version V2, right? Okay, yeah, so you need to add one more thing, a full stop. You need to add a full stop to it. You get, so if you do this, it's going to build the entire application with with Cloud9. It shouldn't take as much time as it should in terms of building this Docker image. You know, it shouldn't take as much time. If you are doing this locally, it's going to take a lot of time. Don't mind these red things. I'll just allow that build. So while that is building, I will create. I will come to another terminal here, and if I say Docker PS. Docker PS basically just means you want to check all the Docker containers running, right? So it's still building. I can just do Docker images again. Okay, so it's still building this, right? Um, should we wait or should we start doing something else? Do fast, do fast. All right, so let's work with this image that we've created before, which is version 1, right? So I'm going to create a container out of that. How do we do that?
Hello, Ukeme. We're enjoying this
Yes.
session, but we have less than 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh,
We have
okay.
less than 10 minutes yet.
Okay, okay. Let me just rush this. So we'll do Docker run dash E, meaning detach, and then dash P, and then which is port. So we'll map port 80. Let's map port 3000 to port 80. Where am I getting 80 from? 80 is from here. I expose 80 here. You get line 9. Oops. So Docker run dash D dash P, and then where the port we're mapping to, and then we will now call the image, and the image we're working on is bank app v1. So if I click on this, so it has basically created that container. If I say Docker PS, oops, Docker PS, yeah. So we have this here. I can basically now inspect it to see if it's running. This start running 11 seconds, created 11 seconds ago. So I can say Docker inspect using the container ID. I can just take the first three letters there or digits. So one B, E, and then if I scroll up now, I would see, yeah, so it's saying that this application is currently running. So now there are some other things I should have done, but I've already done them on the background. I'm basically just going to look for that EC2 instance that is running this code, this Cloud9. Zoom out a bit. I'll look for that EC2 instance running Cloud9. So if I come here, which one is it, Seth? I think it's this one. Yes, so this is it. I'll take basically you have to work on the security group. Make sure your inbound rule. Let me open this. Showing your inbound rule is as security. You have to edit the security group, and then you see here I added this port. So what I'm going to do now is I'll add an extra port of port 3000. Hopefully we don't run into any errors. 3000. I'm opening this port up and I'm saying everywhere in IPv4. So after doing that, you can then now take this public IP, take that, I've done that here before, and then run it on port 3000. So we have this application. All right. So you've seen how to use Cloud9 for your development. Um, I wanted to cover code commit, but we don't have time. This is code star. Let's see if we can do code commit. So if you come and type code commit here, you click it, it takes you to this page where I am right now. So in this page, you see that AWS tools are linked together. All right. So we have code commits. If I look here, code artifact is also there. If I come down, there's code build here. If I come down, there's code deploy. If I still go down, there's code pipeline. Everything all working together for your good. All right. In one place. So if you want to create a new source or like a new code commit repository, like you're creating a new Git repo. If you click on click create, give it a new name. I'll call this study. Sure, my time is up. Study group, and then give it a description. So once you've created this, you now need to you have to do some extra things in terms of a credential. I can see there's nothing here. Credentials in the sense that you there's some extra IAM security you have to go through to use this. So the best thing is to go to IAM, AWS IAM, which is basically what you use to manage your users, you know, identity and to do is to go to security credentials and then you need to create an HTTP Git credentials for AWS Code Commit. So once you do this, I'm going to delete this anyway. Once you do this, I created it before. You now have your username and then you have a password that you can use, So let me just stop here. Let me show you one last thing. Let me show you one last thing. Yeah, so this is Code Star. Now, Code Star has every single pipeline built in it, every single stage of the pipeline built. You get so it basically is, I believe, is code pipeline or steroids. So after there's a process to creating this. After you've created it, because of time, I'll just show you overview. You have to. This is now where it connects your IDE Cloud9. You can here also, and then you can connect code commits here, repository. You can create your pipeline here. You get, and these are the stages. These are the stages, to deploy and all of that. Because of time, I'm basically just going to stop here, and then I'll take questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ukeme. So quick, the questions we have. Okay, if we will send you, follow us, we've shared our social media handles, follow us on the various social media platform, or maybe reach out to me on LinkedIn with my name, and I will give you the link to the WhatsApp group, to the study group. Okay, that's it. Then from Igwe, he says, I'm showing this. He says, what's the connection between Docker and AWS?
Okay, so Docker is a container or an image creation tool. You know, um, AWS is a cloud provider. So if you want to create an image out of your application, you use Docker. Docker can easily be integrated into other cloud providers or other tools. You can even use Docker locally. You get, so the thing is, Docker creates your application image, and then AWS is a cloud provider. Hope that answers the question.
Yes, that answers his question. Thank you very much. Then we have, oh, I think so many people have asked me this question. How do I become part of the study group? What's the difference? Okay, then we have What's the difference between AWS over, is on the screen, over NGINX?
Nginx.
Yes.
Nginx. So Nginx is a load balancer. Nginx is a load balancer and a reverse proxy service. AWS, as it is a cloud provider. You can use Nginx in your AWS workload. So AWS covers all of these things. So you can also use Nginx in your local computer. So if you are working on like this, and let me just share my screen again just a bit to show you something that Nginx also was a part of our build. Just quickly, sorry, blessing. Where's that thing? Yeah, so if you look here, we're using Nginx
Hold on,
here.
let me share it. Okay, this,
Okay.
right?
Are you sharing my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
okay. So if this is the Docker file now, if you notice, we're using Nginx here. We created a multi-stage build. So in this stage, we use a node image because it's a node application. Now in this second stage, in our run stage, we use Nginx. So Nginx does like the load balancing, and routing of traffic in this case. Hope that answers your question. What's the next
Thank you.
question?
That answers the question. So from Ojo, it says, how do we build a portfolio? How do we build a portfolio from what we've learned down to getting a job? Wow. Ojo, you're very ambitious.
Jojo, I'm link. Just put it on the chat and see if people can join in. Yes, thank you. So,
Okay, we've
how do
shared the
you
link
build a
to the
portfolio
WhatsApp group.
around what we have learned?
Hello, we lost you a little. Oh, it seems Ukeme's network is poor. Let's hold on. He may join us. It may pick up once again. Oh, I think we lost him entirely. He may try to join us again. So, but before he joins us, okay, once again, thank you guys for coming. So, for those that asked for link to join the study group, a link to the WhatsApp chat is here. He's back.
Hello,
Okay.
blessing.
Yes,
I was
yes,
out.
welcome back. Yes, welcome back.
Okay, yeah.
Please
So,
go ahead.
Ojo, basically, you need to work on a lot of projects and always make sure you document your process. Put it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a place where you can create a source of all your portfolios. Everything you worked on is there. And then also your GitHub, make sure you're always pushing on GitHub. You get so on your CV, you basically just put a link to your GitHub that shows your portfolio. If you are extravagant like me, you can literally just build your own website. You get you can build your own website and then put um, your portfolio there. I hope that answers your question. And make sure you use LinkedIn a lot.
I'm sure that answers his question. Now, so we don't reach the end of our three for AWS two sets. I hope you enjoyed this jolly ride as we walk enter the world
Wait,
of
to blessing. Wait, we are international. Don't speak pidgin
yes,
English to our
yes, yes.
viewers.
I know it's international. Una sabi say with AWS toolset, una don't get your own powerful toolbox that will make you code like a magician, test like a ninja,
Mm,
and deploy like rocket. So special shout out
yeah.
and big appreciation to our amazing speaker Ukeme who taught us effortlessly. And I'm sure you already feel like superhero like him. Left to Ukeme, he's willing to go over and over, like he's ready to go till the day ends. Like I told you guys, he's multi-talented. Like he told you, he bragged a little, he told you if you want to be like him, build a website to show off your skills. So, and he's your go-to person. I will not sing it lower than this. So keep experimenting, keep learning, and remember that the sky is not your limit when you're riding the cloud. Thank you for joining us today. We have another study session tomorrow. If you check, follow us on our social media pages. We keep posting and making announcements on the various study sessions we have. This session is supposed to be a study and win prize session, but for this period, we're not doing that. So stay tuned to our social media platforms, and you know when we bring back the prizes. We hail you, Ukeme. Thank you very much. And we not say this na international platform, but we want to teach these people our pidgin language. Thank you very much, Ukeme. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Afolabi. And Ukeme, I'm sure you would like to say a goodbye word. I know say na international space be this, but we won't make them learn our pidgin English.
Sorry, Afolabi, yes, is a server, but is also a load balancer, also a reverse proxy, also a an SSL TSL termination, also used for caching, also an API gateway. So Nginx is a lot of these things. All right.
Yes, that brings us to the end of our study session today. Okay, Meg, do you have any final words to say before we end the session? Apart from fighting me from using pidgin English.
I'm not fighting you. Sorry, you. I just feel you should be ambitious. Just be ambitious and then make sure you join the study group, join the WhatsApp group, and you'll learn a lot. Trust me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today's sessions. Remember, follow us on all our social media platforms. The link is shared in the chat above, and I'll share the link again. And stay tuned to follow us and stay glued to announcements. Also, we have a call for speaker and call for papers for our upcoming community day, which is coming up on the 19th of August 2023 in Lagos State, Nigeria. It's a hybrid event. It's going to be both in person and online, but we encourage you as much as you can. If you can, please attend and the in person, attend it in person. But if you can't, join us online as we make this available. We're going to have amazing speakers. We're going to have very fun events and trainings. And then if you want to be ambitious, like Ukeme is telling you, please enter and submit your paper and to become one of the speakers that we have. We trust some of you. After learning from Ukeme, some of you are going to be superheroes. Thank you very much for this session. Okay, we have a question from Kevin Ukeme. He says, it was an insightful. What are some of the security considerations one needs to make when deploying a CI/CD pipeline on AWS? Hello, Keme. Oh, I think we lost him there. So please do join the WhatsApp group, and I'm sure he will definitely answer your question. This brings us to the end of our study session. Oh, thank you very much. It was fun, and you had a great time learning. See you tomorrow's session. Please save the date and stay glued to our social media channels so that you don't miss any of our study sessions once again. Have a good night rest.